It's no news that for less than the price of an MT-15, you can have a KTM 125 Duke, a TVS Apache RTR 200, or even a Royal Enfield Bullet if you like. In fact, if you pay just a tiny bit more, you can just have an R15 V3, which, as we all know, is amazing around a racetrack, even if you're used to bigger motorcycles. The MT-15 around a racetrack, though, was a terrible disappointment. But can all of that really change in the real world? Just look at the MT-15, will you? Sure, it's nothing more than an R15 that's wearing too little, but what it is wearing is still very fashionable. It's literally got no bodywork to really even judge here, but somehow its minimalism makes it appear so stylish. Yes, even without those fluorescent yellow wheels like on the International spec bike. But is it enough to change the popular belief that you need a full-fed motorcycle to turn heads? Now what I'm doing is taking a fairly dramatic picture of the MT-15. Nothing too extraordinary. Don't think I need a filter on this one. Profound caption quoting Steve McQueen. Hashtag bike life. Hashtag ride or die. Hashtag MT15. Yup, done. Okay, so I'll tell you how that went later. But don't you think your primary motivation to buy a motorcycle should be about greater things than Instagram popularity? Like, how about riding it maybe?
Whether you ride it to college or to work, the MT-15 will put you in a great mood. At speeds under 60 kmph, the MT-15 does feel a bit tame and muted, but that's just a refinement of the motor, and in reality, its performance in the city is very energetic. You can ride it at as low as 30 kmph in 6th gear if you like, and like on the R15, the MT-15 builds up revs with no hesitation.
Initial acceleration on the MT-15 is impressive, but what really gets you is the fact that this engine just refuses to let up. Like on the R15, this engine too just pulls cleanly no matter what speed you're riding at, and then there is this VVA light that pops up on the display every time you cross about 7,500 RPM, which just makes you feel like you're part of this complex mechanical wizardry of sorts. And even when you do need to put that 6-speed gearbox to work, it's a thing of immense joy because that gearbox is just super slick and precise. In fact, the clutch also features a slip and assist function, which means your hard downshifts and clutch lever action are both taken care of. And not to forget, the rear sprocket on the MT-15 is actually larger than that of the R15s, which means it's actually more tractable at lower revs.
The unstressed motor makes it easy to ride apart from properly peppy, and matching that is the way it steers. It surely helps that the MT-15 is 4 kg lighter than the R15, but given that it's not as front heavy, its 138 kg curb weight feels significantly lighter than that of the R15s, especially in traffic.
With the leverage from this wide handlebar, the sharp brake, the wide enough tires, and the overall commanding but unstressed riding position, the MT-15 feels almost as nimble as a bicycle in traffic.
There's no gap you can't filter through, and unlike on an R15, you don't really have to slow down for undulations. That you can do all of this while still going 52 km to a litre of petrol only sweetens the deal. This also means that the MT-15 encourages you to go beyond just having fun in the city. Ready to hit the highway then? On the highway, the MT's numbers definitely impress. The mid-range is healthy, which means you only need one downshift to overtake in most cases, and refinement at 80 to 100 kmph is also decent, with a mild buzz being felt at the handlebar and pegs, but none at the fuel tank. If you persist, the MT-15 can even show you upwards of 130 kmph on the speedo, and at 100, it certainly doesn't feel stressed. On an even brighter note, literally, the long-haul riders amongst you will find that the bifunctional LED headlight is better than on the FZ25. It offers a good throw and decent spread, although the intensity could be brighter.
What many of you won't like, however, is that the MT's engine doesn't feel as punchy as the numbers suggest. Don't get me wrong, it still is very tractable, but if Yamaha could make it feel as menacing as the look suggests, that would make it irresistible. In fact, despite being lighter than the R15, it's not actually as quick, and that's because this light front end results in these tiny wheelies every time you give it a hard launch, making it lose those crucial milliseconds.
Once again, the smoothness of the engine makes the MT-15 seem a bit tame, but a great companion for the highway.
Those of you who do intend to hit the highway with the MT-15 will be impressed with the fact that it returns 48.5 kilometers to the litre, which gives it an overall range of about more than 400 kilometers at real-world speeds, which is not bad at all considering the fuel tank is actually a litre smaller than on the R15.
What also makes the MT-15 very likeable is its handling. It turns in sharply, which does call for gentle inputs, although through sweeping corners it's stable and predictable. What's a bit disappointing is the braking package. Unlike on the R15, the MT-15 only gets a single-channel ABS, and while the brakes offer good progression, they lack the sharp bite a motorcycle this potent really needs.
Also, given the MT's compact riding geometry, it lacks the R15's finesse around corners, which means if you're hefty like I am, you can't really hang off too much. In other words, if you want to show off, you're going to have to resort to doing other things, like pulling wheelies or something.
At the end of a long day in its seat, however, there are some concerns that do arise.
Now, while the riding position is fun, the seat, being a bit firm and also narrow, is not very good for long-distance riding.
The seat height at 810mm is decent even if you're on the shorter side.
The ride quality on the MT is actually quite decent over most surfaces.
It's not KTM firm, but firm enough to keep its handling very agile, and the young guns amongst you will definitely find no reason to complain.
But what about ferrying a pillion, which if you are in college is something you will do a lot, no? Dude, well, let's just call it intimate.
Okay, so the pillion seat is nothing you'd call plush, and it isn't very spacious either, but at least there's this massive grab rail to keep you secure, even if it is quite, well, ugly. For quick city rides, the pillion comfort is alright, but the conventional crop of 160s are definitely better suited to this purpose.
But is there a deal breaker somewhere in there? Well, not exactly, but there are certain compromises you're going to have to learn to live with, and let me show you what those are. Firstly, you have the overall fit and finish, which is, as you can see, not very great. In fact, then you have this massive exposed metal extension, which keeps all of this together, which is just screaming to be hacked away so that the tail can be tidied up. It's just not uniformly, what's the word, expensive.
Then you have the switchgear, which isn't very premium or very well laid out either. Take for instance this horn button that's positioned where you'd usually find the indicator toggle, or the pass light switch that's been integrated into the beam switch. Oddly enough, even the mirrors are mounted asymmetrically, which just doesn't look right for a motorcycle of this price.
To nitpick, it's also odd that the key slot to open the seat is positioned down here. Not that it's an inconvenience, because in reality, there's only about enough room under the seat to store away a slice of bread.
So, has the MT-15 made the most of this second chance and proven itself where it really matters? In the real world, that is?
You know what? I'm really confused right now. When I first rode the MT-15 at the BIC a few months ago, it came across as almost shockingly uninspiring. But having ridden it in the real world, I can't help but like it very much, and that's not just because I have some 200 likes and 10 new followers on Instagram. In the real world, however, the MT-15 is just so energetic and I can't help but like it very much. Okay, so it is fair to be upset with Yamaha India for depriving the MT-15 of its upside down fork, the dual channel ABS and also that sophisticated swing arm. But does all of that really compromise the MT-15's overall appeal very monumentally? Absolutely not. What does defy logic is priced at 1.36 lakh rupees ex-showroom, the MT-15 is still only 4,000 rupees cheaper than the R15 and not 15,000 rupees cheaper. But then again, it is hard to put a price tag on fun. And that's something the MT-15 really is. It's just a lot of fun.